my name is Allie, and I'm here at the Wood County District Public Library in the Children's Place, reading you stories. Today we're reading about castles. But before we start, hope you're noticing my beautiful Storytime crown. You too can have a Storytime crown if you pick up one of our Connect magazines, and you can get one of these if you use our curbside service or you come in during our new public hours. In the back, there is a template. You can make your own. Make it fabulous, just like mine. All right. One quick other thing is our summer reading program is ending soon. So if you're signed up, do some more reading because it ends on the 31st. Then we're going to get all your prizes ready and it's going to be awesome. The first story we're reading is called The Very Last Castle. The words are by Travis Jonker. He's the author. And the pictures are by Mark Pett. He's the illustrator. And I have my knight here because we have a knight in the story. He's up here protecting the castle. And this is my knight. Here he is. He has a shield. And this is his visor and his helmet. He's got his metal outfit on here and his cudgel. He doesn't have a sword. Usually knights, I feel like, have a sword, but he's a little different, I guess. So there's him. He's going to sit on my lap while we read our story. Here we go. The Very Last Castle. Here's the knight. There's our main character, this little girl. In the middle of a small town stood something you might not expect. A castle. It was, in fact, the very last castle. There had been others, but over time, they had all been taken down, or fallen apart, or been destroyed. All but one. That one. For reasons no one could remember, no one ever came out, and no one was allowed in. Up in the tower, the guard watched the townspeople silently pass by. And then there was Ib. Look how cute she is. She has a really cool backpack. There's all sorts of little keychains on there. Little panda and super cool yellow boots. Every day she walked past the castle all alone. Every day she stopped. She looked up. She saw the lone guard standing stone still. Plunk! She likes to toss stones into the moat. The moat is a circle of water that goes all the way around the castle, like a pond, but in a circle around the castle, and it protects it from invaders. And then there's a drawbridge that comes down when they want to open the doors, and it covers the moat so people can walk over. Since no one had ever been inside the castle, the townspeople had ideas about who or what was in there. Snap, snap, snap. Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Oh, she's imagining all those monsters in there. Thud, thud, thud. Giants, said Alex. Here are the giants they're imagining in the castle. There's the castle, all alone in the winter. Snow is coming down. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Snakes, said Ib's grandfather. He's imagining all these snakes in the castle peeking out. Maybe it's something terrible, Ib thought one day, but maybe. Plunk. He threw another rock in. There's the guard. He's watching. The next morning, Ib walked past the castle. She stopped and looked up at the tower. No guard. Ib had an idea. She floated across in this little rowboat, across the moat, walked up to the door, and with all the strength she had, knock, knock, knocked. What's gonna happen? Yes! So she got scared. She imagined all those snakes coming out. Oh! She's booking it. Ibs didn't stop running until she was sitting at her desk at school, scared and out of breath. Maybe Grandpa was right. She didn't tell anyone what had happened. Not long after, an envelope arrived in her mailbox. Inside was an invitation. Your presence is requested at the front gate of the castle on Sunday at noon. That's exciting. Everyone told Ib to stay away. Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Giants, said Alex. Snakes, said her grandfather. Maybe it's something terrible, Ib thought. Could it be something else? On Sunday, Ib stood all alone outside the front gate. With a loud thunk, the drawbridge began to lower. She trembled. She looked up at the tower. Empty. She took a deep breath. Take a deep breath. That helps when you're feeling scared or nervous. Slowly, Ib did something none of the townspeople had ever done. She walked inside the castle. It turned out Miss Wicks and Alex had been right. There were monsters. These are topiaries. They are like plants, bushes that have been trimmed into the shape of animals or monsters. Looks like we have a dragon and maybe a dinosaur and an elephant. And there were giants. Giant vegetables and fruit. We have giant apples and giant pumpkins and a giant eggplant, but no snakes. Welcome, came a voice, a kind voice. It was the guard. He removed his helmet. He was much older than Ib had expected. I'm the last one left. May I show you around? For the rest of the day, Ib and the guard, his name was William, visited every corner of the castle. Before long, they were pruning near the great hall. Snap, snap, snap. She's making hers into a giraffe. He's got another creature going on here. And harvesting by the palace. Look at those apples. They are the size of her head, bigger than her head. Thud, thud, thud. Hitting the ground. He's shaking the tree. They ended up where they had started. Why now? Asked Ib. Why are you letting me into the castle? All the other castles are gone, answered William. Someday I will be too. I want someone brave to take my place. Someone curious. Will you help me? Ib thought about William, all on his own. She thought about her family and friends outside the castle. She thought, and then she knew. Yes, Ib replied, but I have one request. In the middle of a small town stood the very last castle. Sometimes someone came out. There's William. He has some fruit and vegetables he's going to share with Ib's family and friends. And everyone was welcome in. Look, they're all enjoying the marvelous creatures. They're watering the plants. This says hiss. Remember, that's the sound that snakes make. But inside the castle, there are no snakes. So it's like the hose making that sound. And hoses kind of look like snakes. Climbing trees. That's the end. There's Ib. She's about to knock. That was a great story. I liked that one. That one was a pretend story. That's called fiction. Now we're going to read a story, but it's not a story. It's facts, which is called nonfiction. This book is called Castles and Palaces by Sally Lee, published by Pebble Plus. Here we go. Let's learn about real castles. We could actually go to these. What do you think? Do you want to live in a castle or a palace? We'll figure that out while we read. What are castles and palaces? How would you like living in a castle or palace? Both are grand homes for royal families and important leaders. This castle's in Germany. Long ago, castles were built for protection, not comfort. They were hard to heat, cold, and had few windows for fresh air and sunlight. Those older castles don't sound very comfy. Maybe I don't want to live in a castle. Unlike castles, palaces were built for comfort. Today, castle homes are as grand as palaces. Some castles and palaces have become museums or hotels. This is the Louvre Museum, and it's built in front of this castle that's in Paris, France. And that castle has been updated to be fancy. A look inside. Palaces and castles have hundreds of rooms. That is a big place to live. Some are for the family's living quarters. Look at that fancy bed. I'm all about that. This castle's in Scotland. Fancy palace rooms have different uses. Ballrooms are perfect for large parties. Smaller groups meet in drawing rooms. This palace is the Buckingham Palace in London, England. Huge palaces are still being built. The world's largest palace is in Brunei. It has 1,788 rooms, 257 bathrooms, and 110 car garage. It's a little much. Sure is fancy. There it is. It's in Brunei. Famous castles and palaces. England's Queen Elizabeth II has several homes. One is Windsor Castle near London. It has a room with a table and chairs for 160 dinner guests. That is a very long table. The Emperor of Japan lives in the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. People gather outside to see the royal family. They're all up there. They're kind of small. I don't know if you can see. Neuschwanstein Castle is in the mountains of Germany. Fairy tale castles have been made to look like Neuschwanstein. It kind of looks like the Disney castle. We're learning all about fairy tales this summer, so I thought that castle was pretty perfect. That's the end of that one. The knight really liked that one. Maybe this knight is called William too. All right, I have one more story to share with you. It's a quick one. This one is a pretend story, so it's fiction. And it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've read Going on a Bear Hunt. It's very similar. You have to keep going in a bear hunt in your head and think about the similarities, things that are the same, while you listen to this story. And it's called Into the Castle by June Crebbin, illustrated by John Bendel Brunello. Into the Castle. This book is published by Candlewick Press. They made this cool book so we can enjoy it. Thanks. On the hill is a castle. Let's go and see. They say a monster lives inside, but no, that couldn't be. Around the castle is a moat where slimy green things grow. They say a monster swims in there, but that was years ago. Across the moat is a drawbridge that creaks and groans, they say, because the monster stomps across. But no one's here today. Beyond the drawbridge is a yard with a deep well built of stone. They say the monster comes to drink, but look, it's overgrown. Doesn't look like anyone's been there in a long time. Across the yard is a passage with a worn stone floor. They say the monster made it worn, but how can they be sure? Along the passage are some steps, curving underground. They say a monster thunders down, but I can't hear a sound. There they go. Down the steps is a heavy door with a lock and an iron key. Never heard of them speak of that. Let's open the door. See. My gosh, what's gonna happen? It's a dark, dank dungeon with a bed and a wooden chair. But who is sitting very still in the shadows there? You can see him. He's pretty small. He's sitting over there. It's the monster! Run! There's his feet. Oh my gosh. Out the door, up the steps, along the passage, across the yard, over the drawbridge, across the moat, down the hill, and far away. Oh, the monster won't catch us today. Just a minute. What's that shout? Thanks for letting me out, says the monster. He's smiling. He seems like maybe he's a nice guy who's stuck. Now that castle has a monster for a guard instead of a knight. And that's the end. Thank you for joining me for story time today. Remember to do more reading because the summer reading program is over on the 31st of July. Get lots of reading done so you can get some cool prizes. All right, here goes me in the night. Thanks for joining me.